Alright, September 19th, we had our first gym workout yesterday, and it went okay. I can still feel the pressure in the neck from the hematoma. There was one instance I was doing crunches, I was leaning on my elbows, and I felt a little owie in there. Uh, it's fine this morning, I can still feel something deep down, but I haven't stretched yet. So this is going to be my third morning workout. Very simple. Just stretch a little, try some mobility stuff, and do a little bit of core. Mostly just straight, not twisting yet. Uh, but it's feeling okay. No soreness in the abs from what I have done. No soreness anywhere yet, but um, not lifting particularly heavy or trying anything particularly arduous. And so that's what's going on for today. All right, so let's go over. So let's go over what I really have going on so far. All right, so because of the damage to the spinal cord, I still have certain deficits. One of them is this hand is numb along this side of the arm. This hand still cannot quite move as fast as this one, so my fingers cannot quite type at full speed. Then I also have this leg. So the hip flexors, especially on the left side, feel all kinds of strange whenever I engage them. First thing in the morning, or if I have been sitting for a while, when I stand up, they feel like they want to spasm. Uh, it has only been basically 4 weeks and 5 days since I had the surgery to decompress the spinal cord. So I haven't seen any significant improvements except the fact that my whole leg no longer twitches when I put pressure either down or up on my toe, left toe. Okay. Now, something that I had prior to all this is I still have a little bit of patellar tendonitis on my right knee. Aging ain't fun, but we gotta work through it. All right. So let's get working. All right, so patellar tendonitis basically hurts there, sometimes more than others. I have been suffering and limping with it really since about January. I haven't given it enough rest. Then I had this business with the surgery. So one of the ways to treat patellar tendonitis is to basically do what's known as eccentric exercises. And that basically means do load as you are stretching the tendon. So one of the things I have done is I have set up a sloped piece of wood. I have seen others where they have a more slanted board, but this does for me. And basically, while facing down the slope, right? Just come down. I'm using basically about a 4 feet down, about an inch thick or so, as kind of an assist, right? So that I can come down under my full weight, right? And also to help me stabilize, right? And then once I get to a point, I can help myself get up. So you put a lot less load on that tendon as you're coming because you're assisting with your other leg and you're pushing with your other arm, and that works pretty good. And what I'm basically trying to do is not go down very hard or very low, right? Then just come up. We're just gonna do it 20 times. That's it. I think with patellar tendonitis, the key is not to do a ton of stuff, just do the right stuff. So you strengthen the area, you stretch, you rub, you ice, and you stretch. And you repeat it as you see fit. I have noticed a gradual improvement over the last week. It's very gradual. If I go for a 4 or 5 mile hike, I can really still feel it at the end. A good stretch, and by a good stretch I mean something like grab your leg, bring it way back, and take your heels to the butt, right? That seems to really help the soreness on that. All right. Okay, so I have this nice rubber floor I have put on my little work area, and this is normally where I do stretch and mobility exercises. A lot of people, I think, have the notion of you have to do lots of crazy stuff to get into great shape. What I have found, especially as you age, is that it gets a little bit easier if you just sort of just keep doing it more regularly, not necessarily as hard. The hard counts if you get in good shape between the injuries. So here we are. So normally one of the things is I start from top to bottom. So I'll start with something like shoulder circles, first. And the other thing is just trying to use good form. It's one of the things why I like sometimes to just film these things, because one of the things is people tend to do this rather than trying to lock their arms and just move it. Okay, if you do this, you don't do anything to your shoulders. If you do this, you feel it. And the other thing is people also tend to sort of do the circles like this, sort of a little bit forward. I think it's important to try to engage your core, keep a nice straight line, and then just make the circles be halfway in front of you and behind you. That way you're activating sort of your rhomboids, that's the muscles between your shoulder blades, and that's one of the benefits of this, as long as also engaging all three parts of your deltoids. Oh, and that's really good. And then just reverse and go the other way. And of course, when you start, I don't know about you, but I always feel some joints going crickety crack, but after a little while they loosen up and they start sort of feeling better. Then go ahead and just look forward, just this. Just basically, it's almost like you have thimbles, not thimbles, how do you call it? The things that people hit, and just kind of do that to kind of keep moving the shoulders. And then the ones I always have a really hard time, and this kind of helped me with the springboard diving. So here's the thing, in the springboard dive, you want to be as much in a straight line as possible, right? So you want to minimize this by bringing your core in, lifting your chest up, and then trying to reach up above you as much as possible. Because I have poor shoulder mobility, one of the things that tends to happen is I tend to kind of be in this position, and then if I try to raise, invariably what I'll do is I'll curve my lower back and get out of line. So I am trying to stretch the front side and a little bit of this, okay, in order to kind of be able to sort of stand tall and then just reach above. Has gotten better over the last year or so, but now that I'm coming back from surgery, I can really feel I have lost some ground in this area. The other thing too is I also tend to have a wide reach, so more of a V. If you get really good, you should be able to do it so like you lock your thumbs together, oh boy, and have your ears touch your arms. Now, I have this really good hard point up here, and one of the things I like to do is to basically kind of grab it, okay, and I can basically slide these things to be sort of close, and then while trying to stay like that, lock the arms and lean forward, okay? And what that does is it kind of helps you to achieve some stretch. Uh, the key is to just make it nice and gentle, arms locked, and just sort of try to gain that range of motion. And by the way, this actually feels really good. I mean, it's a bit of a but then you just sort of feel like you can move better afterwards. Oh yeah. Oof. Alright, then the other thing I also like to do is just sort of a front stretch where you grab your hard point and just sort of lean forward one at a time, okay? So I'm feeling a stretch right along here. Alright, and then I also like to kind of do a slight sideways to stretch more on the front, okay? So it's almost like you're just trying to spear down. Now the key is there's a fine line between basically ripping things off and stretching. So I try not to, no pain, never any pain when you're stretching. Just sort of like feel a nice little stretch, in a good solid position, and enjoy that sort of feel of your body kind of getting gently stretch, feel the muscle. Now right now, I don't know if you can see it, my arm feels like it's vibrating a little, but that's just probably because it's early morning and I am just starting to do that. And by the way, early in the morning I have been lazy. It's like 8:40 right now a.m. But I had to do a few things work related this morning. Alright, and then let's repeat on the other side. And just remember, this is basically achievement by 1,000 practices, just a little bit at a time. I'm trying to do this at least in the morning and then do something during the afternoon workouts. Actually, I am planning to go back to the climbing gym this afternoon. It's going to be something very simple. I don't think I can pick a fall yet, so what we're going to be working on is traverse and whatnot, but that'll be the subject matter for another video. Oh yes. Oh God, I'm feeling that nice stretch. All right, so in the interest of time, we have kind of done a pretty good job of shoulders. I'm not going to be stretching my neck because I'm not there yet. Remember, 4 weeks and 5 days since surgery, so we don't want to go, standing on our heads yet. The next thing I would do though is I would sort of work on sort of torsion rotation. So one of the things is a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll sort of turn their arms a little, their torso a little, but then what they'll do is they'll do this. So their arms are moving a lot, but their torso is not moving, especially if your back is a little bit tight. So one of the things I always say is like, look, try to make it so that your arms are in a line and stay in a line, okay? Oh yes, and that's, yes, good stretch. And I try to start by not bouncing, and by that I mean, people who like take a long swing and then they try to go past it. Just bring it up to where you can feel the stretch and the effort of the twisting. Now, if you want to keep really good form, one of the things I do is I have a piece of PVC pipe. It's about a little bit over 4 feet or so. I would say it's about half an inch, and you know, it's wiggly, so this is not gonna be like super hard. But one of the things I like to do is just sort of put it over, right? Just sort of feel the ends, and then as you turn, right, you cannot cheat. The only way you can cheat, by the way, would be to basically turn your hips. So try to keep your hips in place and turn to one side, turn to the other without letting your hips move under you. And that's pretty good. Now, once you are a little bit stretched, one of the things I like to do, I could do it. So one of the things is, after you have done some of that and you're feeling a little bit better, right? Then it's okay to go ahead and just start sort of feeling a good stretch. And you can stretch, increase your range of mobility by using that momentum to carry you a little bit further than you could. Now, thanks to a good friend of mine, I have a good supply of medicine balls. So this is one of the things that you can use, medicine balls. Now, because I'm just getting started back, I'm actually going to be using a nice and light 4-pound medicine ball. Now, my take on this is, I'm still recovering, so this is more about getting going, gaining the mobility, working on the flexibility, than basically grabbing like a 40-pound medicine ball and try to, you know, break it. So just grab like that and just kind of go like that, and that extra bit of weight up there will help you kind of carry it. And right now I can feel it just ever so slightly on this part of the neck right here. I was doing a Roman chair, put my elbow down, and then lift, right? And I think I might have put a wee bit too much pressure on that. But you know, live and learn. And the other thing is, you have to push a little. This is the thing is, if you're an aging athlete, you really need to fine tune the fine line between pushing so hard that you hurt yourself, but pushing hard enough so that you achieve training adaptation. It doesn't get easier in that sense, okay? All right, then, then it becomes time to basically go ahead and move to the lower body. Now, one of the things I like to do is start with a gentle hamstring stretch. Right now, what I like to do is basically just plant feet and try to touch my toes without curving my spine. And the reason is this, is you might have good spine flexibility, but you basically would be cheating your hamstring stretch. So what I would do is just not try to say, oh, I am going to touch my toes. I like to concentrate on, do my hamstrings feel like they're getting a nice stretch. So normally what I try to do is just try to bring my shoulder blades together while kind of letting the arms hang, right? And there they are. They're right here. I'm already getting a good hamstring stretch. Now what's amazing about this is that as you kind of put a bit of stretch and sort of let the muscles sort of adapt to the load and whatnot, you notice that you can basically reach a little bit further down. And remember, just try to keep a really nice flat back and just sort of gradually go lower and lower down with those blades, shoulder blades. So don't do that, just sort of keep it right there. So if I do this right there, I am hardly feeling any hamstring stretch. Now if I get here and reach down, that's the hamstring stretch. Now my desire is that if I can ever, while keeping my back straight, can put my full palm down on the ground. That would be really good. So just shoulder blades together, relaxed, right? Don't get so tense that you're sort of and whatnot. And don't spend way too much time on it. Just take your time and remember, if you're gonna try to do it twice a day, which is what I'm gonna try to do as best as my schedule allows, that's what I would try to do. Just keep working on it. Before I had the surgery and basically I had to stop doing things for close to 3 months, I was more flexible, so I definitely have lost range, but it goes to prove if you don't move, you lose. All right, so we have done hamstrings. The other thing to do too is of course quads. I like to keep things balanced. Right, so one of the things is I use this for equilibrium, just because this weird feeling on this leg, I'm not very stable on it, but I'm gonna try it nevertheless, right? So, all right. So one of the things is, again, don't force it, but one of the things I like to do is kind of sort of grab from the base of the toes, keep both knees relatively close together. If I can equilibrate myself, that leg is being funky. So keep the two knees together. Come on. As you can see, I am still challenged. I really hope this gets better. Anyway, so I'll try it with my good leg. Alright, as you can see, I need to do better. This will get better. Alright, so I'm going to use the wall because it gives me a lot more stability. So just kick out, right? So try to keep knees together, and I try to make it until I can feel my heel up against my glutes, right? And if you can, I'm letting go of the wall. If I can, just sort of engage your core. Look at a point in the distance, and that's also a good way of trying to work on your equilibrium, okay? If you can, even put both hands. Oof. All right, and as you can see, that funky nerves on my left leg, sometimes after a stretch like that, it's just the whole leg is strange. All right, so let me do that on the other leg. Right, now this is the leg with the patellar tendonitis, and this is actually the stretch that takes a lot of discomfort away from my patellar tendon. So sometimes if I have been walking for a long distance or something and my knee is starting to feel sore, I do this for about 30 seconds and then it feels much better. So if you're having problems with patellar tendonitis, that's the other thing I like to do. So it would be eccentric loading exercises, a nice stretch like that. One of the things I'll probably do before I get going to work is just put an ice on it, okay? And I'm hoping that gradually he'll get better and better. He'll continue to improve until I can basically walk without feeling any pain and I can start running again, which will be one of the things I want to return to. But anyway, so let's finish the stretch. So we have done quads, we have done hamstrings. One of the things I kind of like to do for the calves is normally I would get into a push-up stance and kind of do it. Uh, I want to kind of still not put too much load on this area uh, because I'm still under a 25 pound per arm restriction. So one of the things I would do is just use a piece of wall like this, right? Just lean in it, plant your foot, let your heel down on the ground, right? And just stretch. Now sometimes you can do that, doesn't really matter, but just sort of feel a stretch. As always, it's not about feeling like you're about to die or the muscle is about to split. It's about just getting a nice, gentle stretch on it. Remember, the purpose of a morning mobility workout and stretch like this is not so much the hardcore workout, it's just loosening yourself up and hopefully sort of preparing your day to be able to move better. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, last thing, I know this is getting a little bit on the long side, is pike stretch and pancake. So one of my goals was to be able to do a pike stretch, which I had accomplished, but I have lost, and to be able to do a pancake, which is basically is having your legs apart and be able to basically kiss the floor between your legs. Okay. Now, just getting back on it. This is, like I said, just like my second or third return to workouts. So, very gradual, just back stretch. So let's together just kind of sort of wrap out your calves and just sort of lean a little bit forward. Try to keep yourself tall if you can, and just sort of lean forward. Now, my goal with a pike stretch is to put my cheeks between my knees, right? And one of the things I have noticed is if you take your time, you actually get a lot better, even in a single session. So whereas right now, this is about as much as I can, right? If you just sort of relax right here, you'll notice that gradually sort of your muscles and your ligaments sort of accommodate and you can do more. Now, one of the things I'm feeling right now is that thing in the throat is still sort of present when I lean forward. It's what happens. I'm kind of hoping that over the next 2 weeks, that feeling will finally go away. It's getting better every day. It's just, healing takes time. So, and just going down just a little bit, right? Point the toes. And right now, what I'm feeling it is on my lower back, just sort of saying, hey, what's going on? And just so one of the things I'm going to try to do is see if I can put my elbows down to the ground. There's an intermediary step, just without force, and then just sort of letting yourself go closer and closer and closer. Alright, we're not there yet. Now, one of the things that tends to happen is sometimes when people are running forward like this, they'll lift their knees if their hamstrings are tight. So just make sure that you got your legs planted on the ground. It's almost like you're glued, right? Now, again, because I don't have a lot of time, I can't work much longer on this. But if you do have time, one of the things is you can do this a couple of rounds, and each round you tend to be able to go a little bit lower. So I'll just try it again. Doesn't feel quite as tight. And there you are, elbows to the ground. And if I tried a little bit more, I can probably just go ahead and put face to knees, but again, it's easy does. Now the other thing is I'm trying to basically increase my ability to extend my legs. I know people who can do 180 degrees, like it's the easiest thing in the world. Right now, this is about 90 degrees between my legs. sometimes what I try to do is just add a little bit more. I'll get on up against the wall and push myself in, but right now we're just working on returning. So just sort of feel, I mean, I can feel a light stretch right here and right here. Light stretch is good, just kind of get that going, right? Just push yourself a little bit forward and a little bit forward. And then, you know, one of the things is try to keep yourself nice and tall, right? One of the things is, I mean, you can always bend your back like this. That takes all the stretch out of that, and you can say, oh, I'm getting closer, but you're actually not pushing the systems you need to push in order to gain the range of motion. So you're much better off just not going as far down, in my opinion anyway, and just sort of feel that nice little stretch pushing forward, and just sort of feel that. And the thing is, you know, just kind of park yourself there for about 20 or 30 seconds. Don't rush it. You know, feel there. One of the things you can do is just lean towards one leg. Oh yeah, you feel it in the butt. And one of the things is, because of my weird nerve damage, right? That leg, when I put it like that, it sort of feels funky, but good. That one doesn't feel nearly as strange. And I actually feel like I can go a lot deeper on this side. Now, last one is, and again, remember, I am very inflexible. I'm working on this. Put your elbow up against your knee as much as you can. Then try to lift so that you're making a straight line to the ceiling. Now, if you're super stretchy, then one of the things is you should be able to touch your toes over your head, and I'm nowhere near that. Oh my God. But you gotta start somewhere. All right, and that is the September 19th morning mobility stretch workout. All right. Okay. It'll be fun to see how I progress over the days, weeks, and months. Just remember, just keep going. It's a little bit at a time.